It was supposed to be a quiet weekend. My sister Leah had gone out of town for a music festival, leaving me alone in the house. I was looking forward to some solitude, maybe binge watching my favorite shows and eating leftover pizza without anyone judging me. But everything changed with a single text message. "Hey Jake, can Olivia stay over tonight? Her place is getting fumigated and she's got no place to crash. Please?" Olivia, my sister's best friend. The girl I had secretly crushed on for as long as I could remember. She was off limits, untouchable, not just because she was Leah's best friend, but because she always seemed so out of my league. I hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Yeah, sure, no problem." An hour later, the doorbell rang. I opened the door, and there she was. Olivia, standing in the dim porch light, her dark hair cascading over her shoulders, wearing an oversized hoodie and leggings that somehow made her look effortlessly stunning. She smiled warmly, making my heart pound in my chest. "Thanks for letting me crash here," she said, pulling a small duffel bag over her shoulder. "Leah said you wouldn't mind." "No problem," I replied, trying to sound casual though my pulse was racing. "Make yourself at home." She plopped down on the couch, kicking off her sneakers. "So, what's the plan for the night? Horror movies? Junk food?" "Sounds good to me," I grinned, trying to play it cool. Hours passed as we laughed over cheesy horror flicks and devoured an embarrassing amount of popcorn. It felt easy, natural, until it wasn't. As the night deepened, the house grew quiet. Olivia stretched her arms above her head, yawning softly. "I guess I should head to bed," she said. "Which room should I take?" You can have Leah's room," I offered, pointing down the hall. "Thanks," she smiled, gathering her bag and disappearing into the darkened hallway. I sighed, leaning back on the couch. "Get a grip, Jake," I told myself. "She's your sister's best friend. Nothing's ever going to happen." But fate had other plans. Sometime past midnight, I woke up abruptly, unsure what had stirred me from my sleep. The living room was dimly lit by the soft glow of the TV, still playing some forgotten movie. I rubbed my eyes, ready to head to my room, when I heard a soft creak from down the hall. My heart skipped a beat. Probably nothing, I thought. But then I heard footsteps, faint but deliberate, growing closer, and then there she was. Olivia stood in the doorway, her eyes catching the faint light from the TV. She wasn't wearing the oversized hoodie anymore, just a loose tank top and shorts that left little to the imagination. My throat went dry. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She shook her head, stepping into the room. "No, mind if I sit with you for a bit?" "Sure," I said, shifting to make space on the couch. She sat down, closer than I expected, her knee brushing against mine. My pulse quickened. "I've been thinking," she said softly, turning to face me. "It's funny, isn't it? How you can know someone for so long, but never really know them?" I blinked, unsure where this was going. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then gave a small, nervous laugh. "I mean, you've always been Leah's brother, off limits, you know? But tonight, I don't know. It feels different." My heart pounded so hard I thought she might hear it. "Different how?" She bit her lip, her gaze locking onto mine. "Like maybe we don't have to pretend there's nothing between us." I froze. Was this really happening? Before I could say anything, she leaned in, her lips brushing mine in the softest, most hesitant kiss. My mind screamed that this was wrong, that Leah would kill me, but my body didn't care. I kissed her back, the world around us fading into the background. Her fingers tangled in my hair, pulling me closer as the kiss deepened, becoming more urgent, more desperate. When we finally pulled apart, both breathless, she whispered, "I know this is complicated, but I don't care anymore." Neither did I, but I had no idea how much more complicated it was about to get. The morning after felt like stepping into an entirely new reality. I woke up on the couch, the memory of Olivia's kiss still lingering like electricity on my lips. For a moment, I thought it might have been a dream, but then I saw her hoodie draped over the armrest and heard the faint sound of the shower running down the hall. It really happened. My brain raced with questions, doubts, and excitement. What did this mean? Was it just a one-time thing? What if Leah found out? Before I could spiral further, Olivia emerged from the bathroom, her damp hair falling in loose waves over her shoulders, wearing a fresh t-shirt and leggings. She smiled softly when our eyes met, but there was a flicker of nervousness in her gaze. "Morning," she said quietly. "Morning," I replied, feeling awkward and unsure of what to say next. She bit her lip, hesitating before sitting next to me on the couch. "About last night." "Yeah?" I said, heart pounding. "Was that real?" She nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "I felt this way for a while, Jake. I just never thought you felt the same." "I do," I admitted, surprising myself with how easily the words came out. "But what about Leah?" Her face fell slightly. "I know. She'd kill us if she knew. That's why maybe we don't have to tell her." A part of me wanted to protest, but another, much louder part wanted nothing more than to have Olivia, even if it meant keeping it a secret. "Okay," I agreed. "We keep it between us." She smiled, and for a moment, all the worries melted away. But secrets have a way of unraveling when you least expect it. The next few days were a blur of stolen glances, subtle touches when no one was looking, and late-night whispers in the dark. Every moment we spent together felt like walking a tightrope, the thrill of the forbidden making each kiss, each touch, even more intoxicating. But then came the close calls. One evening, as Olivia and I sat a little too close on the couch, laughing at something on TV, Leah FaceTimed out of the blue. I scrambled to the other side of the room, heart racing as Olivia answered the call. "Hey girl," Leah's voice rang out cheerfully. "What's up? How's Jake? He hasn't burned the house down yet, has he?" Olivia chuckled, shooting me a quick glance. "Nope, everything's good here, just chilling." "Cool," Leah replied. "Hey Jake, take care of my girl, okay?" I forced a grin. "Yeah, sure thing." As soon as the call ended, Olivia and I burst into nervous laughter. "That was too close," I whispered. "Way too close," she agreed, but her mischievous grin told me she wasn't regretting a single second. The real problem started when Leah came back earlier than expected. I was in my room, texting Olivia about sneaking out later that night, when I heard the front door swing open. "Jake, Olivia?" "I'm home." Panic shot through me. Olivia was in the kitchen. We had planned everything around Leah coming home the next day. This wasn't supposed to happen. I rushed out of my room just in time to see Leah hugging Olivia, completely oblivious to the tension crackling between us. "Surprise!" Leah grinned. "The festival got rained out, so I came back early." "Great," Olivia replied with a tight smile, her eyes meeting mine for a brief, nerve-wracking moment. The next few hours were torture. Every glance, every accidental touch felt like a ticking time bomb. Leah didn't seem to notice at first, but then the questions started. "Hey, Olivia, why are you blushing so much today?" "Jake, you've been weirdly quiet. What's going on?" We deflected, laughed it off, but I could feel Leah's suspicion growing. Later that night, after Leah had gone to bed, Olivia and I met in the dimly lit hallway, our whispers urgent and hushed. "She's going to find out," I whispered. "I know," Olivia replied, "but I don't want to stop." "Neither do I." She leaned in, pressing her lips against mine. But we both knew the clock was ticking, and our secret wasn't going to stay hidden for long. The days that followed felt like walking a tightrope above a pit of disaster. Every moment Olivia and I spent together, every secret touch, every lingering glance felt like an invitation for the truth to come crashing down. And Leah, my sister, was sharp. Too sharp for us to keep this hidden much longer. It didn't help that Olivia and I couldn't keep our distance no matter how hard we tried. One night, after Leah had fallen asleep, Olivia snuck into my room. The moment the door clicked shut, she was in my arms, her lips finding mine in the dark. "I missed you," she whispered between kisses. "You saw me an hour ago," I teased, grinning as my hand slid around her waist. "An hour is too long," she breathed, pulling me down onto the bed. We lost ourselves in each other, the thrill of secrecy making every moment more intense. But even as we kissed, even as her fingers tangled in my hair, a gnawing thought lingered in the back of my mind. This is going to blow up in our faces. And it did, faster than I ever expected. The next morning, Leah cornered me in the kitchen, her arms crossed and eyebrows raised. "Okay, spill it," she demanded. "Spill what?" I asked, trying to sound casual as I poured myself coffee, though my hands trembled slightly. "Something's going on," she said, narrowing her eyes. "You've been acting weird, and so has Olivia." My heart pounded. "Stay calm, Jake," I told myself. "Don't crack. You're imagining things," I replied, forcing a chuckle. "Everything's normal." She didn't look convinced, but she let it drop. "For now." I rushed to Olivia's room as soon as I could. "We're in trouble," I whispered. She looked up from her phone, her expression serious. "What happened?" "Leah's getting suspicious. We have to be careful." "I know," Olivia sighed, running a hand through her hair. "But I don't want to stop, Jake. I can't." I cupped her face in my hands, my thumb brushing over her cheek. "Neither can I. But if she finds out—" "I know," she whispered, leaning into my touch. "We'll figure it out." But fate wasn't on our side. That night, everything fell apart. Olivia and I had stolen a moment alone in the living room, thinking Leah had gone to bed. I was holding her close, whispering how much I wanted to be with her, when suddenly, "What the hell is going on?" We froze, our heads snapping toward the doorway where Leah stood, eyes wide with shock and disbelief. The room felt like it dropped 10 degrees. Leah, I started, but she cut me off. Don't even try to explain, she snapped, her voice trembling. How long has this been going on? Olivia's eyes filled with tears. Leah, my own brother? Leah's voice cracked. My best friend? I didn't mean for this to happen, I said, stepping forward, but she backed away. You didn't mean for it to happen, she repeated bitterly. And yet, here you are. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she turned, storming out of the room. Leah, wait, Olivia called, but it was too late. The damage was done. Olivia collapsed onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. I sat beside her, pulling her into my arms as she sobbed softly. What do we do now? She whispered. I had no answer. All I knew was that our world had just shattered and there was no going back. The house felt unbearably silent after Leah's outburst. Olivia and I sat on the couch, lost in our own spiraling thoughts. I couldn't stop replaying the look in Leah's eyes. Hurt, betrayal, disbelief. She wasn't just my sister. She was my best friend, and I had shattered her trust into a million pieces. I have to talk to her, I muttered, standing up abruptly. Olivia grabbed my hand, her eyes wide with worry. Jake, maybe give her some time. I can't, I replied. If I don't fix this now, I might never get the chance. I found Leah in her room, sitting on the edge of her bed, her face buried in her hands. When she heard me enter, she looked up, her eyes red and puffy from crying. Get out, she snapped. Leah, please, I begged, closing the door behind me. I know I messed up, but... Messed up? She interrupted, her voice trembling. You didn't just mess up, Jake. You betrayed me. I didn't mean to hurt you, I said softly, sitting on the floor in front of her. I never wanted this to happen. Then why did it? She whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. She's my best friend, Jake. How could you? I don't know, I admitted, my own voice breaking. It just happened, and once it did, I couldn't stop. I love her, Leah. Her eyes widened. You love her? I nodded, my heart pounding. I do, and I'm so sorry. She stared at me for a long moment before shaking her head. I need time. I understand, I whispered, standing up and leaving the room. The next few days were unbearable. Leah barely spoke to either of us. Olivia and I tried to keep our distance, but the weight of everything pressed down on us. One night, as I sat in my room, there was a soft knock on my door. Olivia slipped inside, her expression filled with sadness. I don't know if we can come back from this, she whispered. I pulled her into my arms. We'll find a way. But deep down, we both knew the truth. Love wasn't always enough to fix what had been broken. Eventually, Leah started talking to me again, but things were never the same. Olivia and I, we drifted apart. Not because we stopped caring, but because the damage was too great. Months passed, and Olivia moved to another city. We said our goodbyes, promising to stay in touch, but life had other plans. I still think about her sometimes, about the nights we shared, the love we felt, and the heartbreak that followed. And I wonder, if things had been different, could we have made it work? I'll never know, but I'll always remember